What's the dumbest way you've hurt yourself? When I was young I stuck my tongue to a hair straightener. I burned it, obviously. I tripped on my pajama pant leg and broke my foot. Punched myself in the nose while trying to pull up a blanket that was stuck under my feet. My eyes started watering in sympathy at this one. Been there. I am a teacher and have a pencil holder in my classroom filled with 30 sharp pencils, all facing upwards. I dropped something and quickly went to pick it up but face-planted the pencil holder. Luckily I was only stabbed by about 3 of them. One was about half a centimeter from my eye. I still have the lead marks under my skin. 43 years old, and still carrying a tattoo from when a kid stabbed me with a pencil in 7th grade. It's always from 7th grade. That's prime pencil stabbing year. Tried to catch a falling kitchen knife with my foot. Did not fail. I was laying down on the couch and went to put my arms behind my head to relax and I dislocated my shoulder. Once I fell asleep with my arms folded behind my head. I woke up with both dislocated, so asleep I couldn't move them at all, and the muscles so tight from trying to pull the joint back in that nothing moved right anymore. I will say though, while it was a scary long few minutes trying to untangle my arms I wasn't actually hurt. My family lacks some of the connective tissue you're supposed to have in your joints. So my arms can be pulled out of the socket without severe injury, as long as they don't get yanked too hard, but man was that a weird, unpleasant feeling. Forgot to turn the power off before changing a ceiling fan. I accidentally stepped on my parents' cat while walking down the stairs, got spooked, slipped and fell all the way down. The cat was okay, me not so much. Got bitten in the boob by a seagull I was trying to help. That seagull must have been a master sniper to snap such a small target. Lying in the bath with my feet up on the wall, my foot knocked the shower head down and it slapped against my scrotum. I was showing off my ability to burp by swallowing air. I swallowed some air, my throat hurt a little bit, and I couldn't burp it up again. I didn't really think about it again for a while. Within half an hour, I had to leave work because of chest pains. I got to the hospital, they give me antibiotics, assuming that I was having some sort of bacterial infection that was moving very fast. They pretty quickly cleared any suspicion of heart attack or lung malfunction. Eventually they figured out that I had some air in my interstitial space, between organs and my torso. I had to stay overnight to have my body absorb the air. I could have collapsed a lung by swallowing air, or gotten an infection by tearing my throat enough to force air into my chest. The antibiotics probably saved me from that latter one. Does ignoring an existing injury count? Made it way worse. Opened a heavy door too fast and cut my big toenail in half. I was barefoot. I jumped just from reading this. Using a sewing machine and started sewing my arm by accident. Was really into the song I was listening to so took me a good 3 seconds or so to notice. That was a pretty bad experience. Tried to open a packet of cheese with a knife. Mom said you're going to hurt yourself. I responded no I'm not. Literally 30 seconds later we're driving to On because I needed stitches for my fingers and hand. One of my friends broke his wrist while trying to do an ollie on a skateboard. After he got his cast he tried to do an ollie again and broke his other wrist. I work with big machines and I bypassed the safety by putting a key into the door to see what was going on with the robot. The belt in the robot arm broke, it swung at me hit me in the balls, it pushed me backwards onto a cart the cart fell backwards I hit my head of deck what and I had a seizure. Purposely poured hand sanitizer in my eye. Why? I was in writing class and me being a little dumb decided to pour hand sanitizer in my eye. I was jumping in bed as a kid and fell in an awkward position. My leg bent in such a way that I kicked myself in the armpit. Rubbed my eyes after cutting chili peppers. I thought I was going blind lol. Took a piss after cutting jalapenos. Fire crotch took on a whole new, warped meaning. Fell on a knife. Took the knife out. Put the knife back in. I did a salto and hit my eye with my own knee. I reached between a 3-part couch for my phone at my cousin's house and cut my hand on metal. When I turned 8 I got this kick scooter for my birthday. I rode that thing all day when I was home. I practiced tricks like jumping over piles of bricks and spinning the base around and all that. At the next parent-teacher conference I took it along to show off to my friends and couldn't something worthy of my skill to jump over. Ended up choosing this crack in the hallway to show how good I was. I fricked up the landing and broke my leg. I've hurt myself in so many stupid ways but that will always stick with me because I knew I could do so much more and fricked up the most basic thing I could come up with at the time. Not me but my girlfriend. She tried to pick up a bottle of milk off the floor and somehow dislocated her arm. She's lactose intolerant but I didn't know she was that lactose intolerant. Playing with friends on the network, I got angry and hit the glass tabletop with my fist. As a result a piece of glass hit my hand, touched a vein and something else. Bottom line, 2 fingers practically do not move. I woke up and went to the fridge to drink some chocolate straight from the squeezy chocolate bottle, and pushed a bunch of air out into my lungs, instead of that delicious chocolate. So I dropped to the ground in my boxers, choking to death for a solid 20 seconds. All I could think was how they'd find me dead on the floor in my boxers, murdered by some Hershey chocolate, or lack thereof. As a kid I wanted to imitate a TV show where they did different challenges in old prison fort. One challenge had the contestants jumping on a contraption that made cannonballs fly and they needed to hit some targets. The genius I was as a 6-year-old trying to replicate it, I built my contraption with a wooden plank that I balanced on a rock like a seesaw. Then I put a rock on one side and jumped on the other side. Guess what happened? The rock flew right in my face. I did not get seriously hurt but half my face was blue for quite some time after. So this will make me look like a total ass. So 2 years ago I was down at our local GAA football grounds, while one of my daughters was training. I was having a mess around with my other girl the goal. Ball went into the goal, and through a hole in the net. I tried putting my foot through the hole to get the ball, but my daughter ran around and got the ball and ran off with it. I went to give chase, but my foot was still in the hole in the net. I upended myself, came down hard on my chest and fractured 4 ribs. Broke 2 toes with pasta sauce. Pasta sauce had been batch cooked and frozen in family dinner size portion bags, flat so they stack and take up less freezer space. 300 to 400 milliliters bag, unsure of actual weight. Floor around freezer is ceramic tile. I had bare feet. Dropped sauce pack and it fell thin edge down. Acts like a toe murdering dull knife smashing into my toes and getting no resistance the other side from the ceramic tiles. They took so long to heal, but all anyone could do is buddy strap and splint them because they were clean breaks. 3 months of full whack, then another 2 of strapping without splint. While delivering newspapers one frigid winter's day I slid on ice and rolled down a hill, across a road and into a snow-covered bush. Bruised and banged up, but I was 13 years old, and therefore indestructible. So I picked up my newspapers and continued on my route. For the next few weeks I healed up and I thought I was okay, but then my right knee started hurting. Went to the doctor, they said, "Oh, it's just growing pains, don't worry about it." So I limped around for a few more months and tried to ignore it. When the pain got so bad and I could hardly stand on my leg I went to a different doctor. He did some x-rays, said, "Oh, it's nothing, try walking on these crutches for a few months to take pressure off of it and see if it'll heal up and stop hurting." A few months went by using the crutches and it still hurt. 3 painful years pass. Finally went to a sports physician who knows a thing or two about this stuff and he found out that I had actually broken part of my bone at the knee joint. He called it osteochondritis. Basically a small chunk of bone breaks off on the weight-bearing edge of the joint and floats around in a sack of fluid, until I step wrong, then the broken piece stabs back into the raw hole. Imagine stabbing yourself in the knee with a red-hot ice pick and you'll get an idea of what that felt like. Doctor decides we have to do surgery, they go in orthoscopic surgery, put in 2 screws to hold the bone chunk back in place, and then I'm on crutches for another 6 months. Hurts like hell but it does heal. After the 6 months they go in and remove the 2 screws and then another 3 months of no weight bearing until the bone has fully healed back together. It's been over 20 years since then and now I don't have any real issues with knee except on days when it's going to rain and I can feel a slight ache in it. Motorcycle crash with no helmet. This X-Acto knife isn't even sharp, see? Accidentally made chlorine and sulfur gas while cleaning the bathroom, put both me and my flatmate in hospital for the night. OMG, mine was chlorine and ammonia. This was my freshman year of college, first time having my own place and me learning to clean and stuff. I almost passed out from the fumes till my BF found me and dragged me out. I also failed my high school chem, should have known better. I didn't tie my shoes in a rainstorm and was running. Went permanently blind in one eye playing with a soccer ball at age 11. My neighbor kicked it just right so that when it hit the planter box on the side of the house it popped straight up 30 feet into the air. I tried to replicate this, unaware of the beehive inside the planter box. A swarm of bees engulfed me, stinging me over my entire body. But one little fricker went for my eye. He used his little legs to force my eyelids to stay open, Clockwork Orange style, and I got a very National Geographic-like memory of watching him curve his butt downwards. The stinger emerging from within, and him injecting my eyeball. 30 years later I'm still legally blind in that eye. Table saw cut that I knew wouldn't be safe, but I did it anyway. Playing soccer with a basketball. Accidentally stepped on it and slipped into a bush. I got a Lis Franc, requiring 2 surgeries, a plate, and 3 screws in my left foot. Edit. Also I was 19, not a child, so extra stupid. A piece of drywall was clogging my vacuum. I decided to jam a screwdriver down there to break it up. Seems good, right? Well. The 3rd try I missed a vacuum hose and stabbed myself between my index and middle finger. Probably more shit, but that's the current one. One time in grade school I was at my gym class and there was this table against a wall that had wheels and normally everyone in the class would sit on the table while we waited for our coach. So one time I wanted to fake hurting myself to skip the class. So when everyone got off the table I was still sitting there and I slowly leaned back against the wall, carefully pushing the table from under me. Then the table moved really fast and I fell behind the table, which was my plan. But what wasn't in my plan was to land on my arm and twist it really bad to where I dislocated my arm. After that I had to go to the school nurse, which puts ice on my arm. Then I don't remember how my arm back. I just assume someone came and relocated my arm. Long story short, don't lean against walls while on a table with wheels. Recently my mom bought me a red fish at the market, dead, to eat, and I was super excited and wanted to send a pic of the fish to my dad since it looked hella cool. So I asked my boy to take a picture of it since it was too big to hold it with one hand. I realized the light in the kitchen was bad and decided to take the picture outside in the garden. Since I was so excited, I walked very fast and was full of happiness holding my red fish and about to take a nice pic in the garden. I ended up missing a step up and flew into the garden. My red fish flew far beyond me. My ankle never hurted so badly before. I wasn't able to get up, so my boy brought me the fish and took a picture of me holding it while laying in the grass. My tape is torn. But I got a great pic of the fish. I was doing kettlebell swings and slammed myself in the junk in the backswing. I was walking in my driveway carrying a large shop vac and tripped over the weed whacker I laid down earlier and completely blew my knee out. Didn't realize it till I stepped up a step ladder to finish what I was doing and fell off of that. Great day. Tried to kick a nail out of the way once. Barefoot. Good times. Sleeping. Being 30 is strange. Well, I hurt myself today to see if I could still feel. I purchased a brand new bong, went home and the downstem was stuck. Gave it a good twist to try and get it out. The downstem broke and I sliced open my hand that was around the bong. Nice big 2 inches gash on the top of my thumb. Explaining that to my mom was a fun time. Tried to open a carton of mango juice with a knife, it didn't really go well. Many years ago, when I was about 2 to 8, I used to keep on accidentally kneeing my mouth when I tried to stand up. One time I kneed myself in the mouth on accident so hard that I lost a tooth. I was sitting on an armchair in the living room when my mom said she just baked a cake. So I jumped from the chair to get fast to the kitchen, but I hit my head on the door midair and cracked my skull. I now have a little bald spot. I had a moment one summer where I thought to myself, sleds slide on snow, so why can't they slide on grass? I bet they can. So I went outside and grabbed a sled and ran and jumped on it on the grass. The sled didn't budge and I flew off down the hill, smacking my head on the ground along the way. I slipped while making fun of Taekwondo, not my proudest moment. Put my pee-pee on the toilet and smashed the lid down on it to see if it would hurt. It did. I think it's dumb, but some might not. I had sex a few weeks ago and I was using my right ankle to do what I need to do to go back and forth. Well, long story short, I threw out my hips and was disabled for about 2 weeks till they could get my hips back in place. I'm only 33. By thinking my worth was based on the opinions of others, I was opening a water bottle and I cut myself. Thank you for watching, hope you liked the video.